and welcome to The Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein, and thank y'all for joining me today on April 9th for today's reading of James Allen's Daily Meditations. And I'd like to say that today is our 100th episode. That means that is 100 days in a row we have done the daily reading. I'm not including the general summary that I did on the 31st, but so this is 100 days, including January 1st, that we've been doing James Allen's Daily Meditations. It's been an amazing journey so far, and I really am grateful for the people that have come along with me on it. I also did want to say that today in the United States, it is Easter as well. So, well, I don't think that's just a United States thing, to be fair, but it is Easter today. That's being celebrated in the Christian religion, and it's a pretty, it's a pretty a cool thing that for me that the 100th episode is lined right up with Easter. So because we're talking about a lot of spirituality, and there's a lot of spirituality that comes out of religions in general, so a day that's recognized as a holy day is always a great one to do some self-reflection and take a look at how you're living. So personally, I'm excited for today's reading. Very excited. This will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning this will be the first time I read the reading for today. Will be right on this podcast, and you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and do today's daily reading from James Allen for April 9th. Evil is an experience and not a power. If it, evil, were an independent power in the universe, it could not be transcended by any being. But though not real as a power, it is real as a condition. Wow. An experience. For all experience is of the nature of reality. It is a state of ignorance, of undevelopment, and as such it recedes and disappears before the light of knowledge. As the intellectual ignorance of the child vanishes before the gradually accumulating learning, or as darkness dissolves before the rising light. Wow. The painful experiences of evil pass away as the new experiences of good enter into and possess the field of consciousness. Wow. The transcendent man is he who is above and beyond the dominion of self. He has transcended evil. What an appropriate reading for today. Wow. All of these readings in this Easter time, it was Good Friday, and then yesterday, have been about transcendence. Have been about living a good life. Have been about overcoming the obstacles of evil and living spiritually, right? Like all of these very important lessons, very important happenings. And today, what an appropriate reading. I loved this. The entire experience was just great. It just kind of, I was stumbling over words just because it was just such a, it's so relevant to the theme or the nature of this time period right now. So, but evil is an experience, not a power. So evil things happen. What he's saying. They are momentary experiences. They are conditions in which we live, or conditions where actions occur. It is not a power. Evil is not a driving force of an individual. Which is a very interesting concept, because you hear that presented in a way today as, that's an evil person, that's a good person, that's evil. Evil is a characteristic of a person or an individual, or institution, an evil institution, right? When in reality, he's saying evil is an experience, not a power. If someone is not driven by evil forces. And I have the tendency to actually agree with that. I lean that way in my understanding, in my experience. So here we go. This is the main body of the reading right now. If it, evil, were an independent power in the universe, it could not be transcended by any being. So if people were driven by evil forces, evil powers, things like that, if a person was evil inside of them, evil incarnate, right? Like if a human being was evil, they could not overcome it. If people are genuinely good, they do evil things sometimes when driven by selfish ends and self-centeredness and animalistic behaviors and insecurities and fear. People do a lot of things that could be considered evil, but they themselves are not. All behaviors can be transcended. So evil can be transcended, meaning people can stop doing evil things. Evil is not a power. But though not real as a power, it is real as a condition, an experience. For all experience is of the nature of reality. So, again, he's just reiterating here that evil is something that is done, and it's an experience of an individual, that an individual has, right? Like, this is something that is almost perpetrated on somebody. This is something that is circumstantial or is in a immediate moment. Because in the reality of that situation right there, regardless of what happens, it feels like it's an evil occurrence that's going on to the person's. The pain caused, the suffering caused, the selfishness of the other individual, the circumstance itself, the experience itself, the action itself seems evil. But that can never be the driving force, which is a very interesting perspective to take. But I believe that to be true. It is a state of ignorance, of undevelopment, and as such it recedes and disappears before the light of knowledge, as the intellectual ignorance of a child vanishes before the gradually accumulating learning, or as darkness dissolves before the rising light. So, evil, things that can be considered evil, like he's equating evil to sin, right? Evil to selfishness, animalistic desire, passion-fueled life, just a completely self-serving life. And that, I think we talked about it, we've been talking about it actually relatively a lot recently, is these are the result of ignorance and not knowing. And in the light of knowledge and awareness, these things will fade. My own selfishness, I wasn't aware of my own selfishness. I wasn't aware of my own pain. And I wasn't aware of the pain I was causing other people. When it was brought to my attention, when it was shown to me what was going on and how I was, how the nature of me was. And then I was given a different way to live. If I wanted to learn about it, I had to take that. And when I took that, the awareness of how I am and the awareness of my actions and my thinking and what drives me as an individual, my selfishness and the things I would do that were perceived as evil began to diminish. I began to have the ability to choose to be a good man, a good person, to be driven by goodness and be of service to truth and goodness and other people, instead of driven by selfishness. So evil is a result of selfishness, really, and self-centeredness and ignorance of these things. or ignorance of a different way to live, even if they're aware of the action. So evil is conditional upon ignorance existing, is what he's connecting here. So as the intellectual ignorance of a child vanishes before the gradually accumulated learning. So as a kid grows older, they quit doing certain things and they do certain things better. They begin to do certain other things, right? Like as we progress and mature in our lives, this proves true too. Conditions change, actions change, behaviors grow and change. We outgrow certain things. Well, this is almost just a place of being stuck in emotional immaturity, or immaturity of spirit almost, maybe, where we are just constantly stuck in the lack of understanding or awareness of our own being, of our own effects, or our own or the ability to change. It dissolves, or as darkness dissolves before the rising light. The spirit and the knowledge of spirituality is that rising light, and so that sheds that light of the spirit on all of our actions. When something is brought to the light of day, they say, it fades and it crumbles. Right? The shame, the guilt, the pain, the selfishness, the self-centeredness, when we bring that into the light, it all will change into what the true nature of what it should be. And we get to adapt our behaviors as such. And that is a crucially important understanding for a guy like me to have. I'll say that. And thank goodness that is the awareness. That is how it has gone, and that has been my experience. That the awareness has brought me the ability and to have the open-mindedness, willingness, and the honesty to make different actions. And to change my heart, to change my thinking, and therefore continue to maintain these changes of behaviors. The painful experiences of evil pass away as the new experiences of good enter into and possess the field of consciousness. So evil dissipates in the light of truth. Again, a beautiful thing to understand can happen. That's for sure. As it enters in the field of awareness, into the field of consciousness, the painful experiences of evil pass away, and the new experiences of good enter into and possess the field of consciousness. That change in perspective, that change in behavior, that change in awareness. Beautiful. He ends with this: the transcendent man is he who is above and beyond the dominion of self. He has transcended evil. So in other words, when we can stop being completely self-centered, completely self-driven, when we can stop being completely self-serving, and we look outward to others, to serve others at no gain of our own, he has transcended evil. Because evil can be transcended, it is not a power. It is a circumstance. And that's an encouraging and a beautiful message today, right? It's beautifully appropriate. Really enjoyed it. And I hope everyone that is celebrating today has a great holiday. And thank you all for joining on my 100th episode of my podcast today. We do have a Facebook page. If you could go over there, give it a follow, give it a like. You'll get the most recent updates, most recent episodes shared, so you never miss one. We also just put this podcast onto Amazon Music as well, so you can listen to it on Audible or Amazon Music. And please don't hesitate to take a listen and get caught up on it for us. So I appreciate everybody jumping on. I hope everyone has a blessed day today, a great day today, and I will look forward to seeing what the April 10th reading brings us. So until next time, thanks.
you.